talking about the parables of Jesus, maybe from a different perspective. I'm certain that you've heard this story numerous times in your life. But today, let's listen to it with maybe different ears and a different heart to gain a new meaning from it. It's the parable of the Prodigal Son. So Jesus continued his teaching. And there was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, "Father, give me my share of the estate." So the father divided his property between his sons. Not long after that, the younger son got everything together that he had and set off for a distant country. And there he squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in the country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him into his fields to feed and care for the pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. When he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? I'll set out and go back to my father and say to him, 'Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.' So he got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for his son. He ran to his son and threw his arms around him, hugged him, and kissed him. And the son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Quick, bring my best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's feast and celebrate. For the son of mine was dead and is now alive again. He was lost and now is found.' So they began to celebrate. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard the music and the dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him what was going on. 'Your brother has come,' the servant replied, 'and your father has killed the fatted calf, and because he was safe at home again.' The older brother became angry and refused to go into the house. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, 'Look, all of these years I've been slaving for you. I've never disobeyed your orders, yet you never gave me even a young goat so that I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours who has squandered your property with prostitutes comes home, you killed the fatted calf for him.' 'My son,' the father said, 'you are always with me. Everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because your brother is alive. He was lost and now he is found.'" Lovely story. 2 sons. One decides he's had enough of life as he knew it. He felt he was destined for bigger and better things. His father agreed to give him his inheritance, knowing that he was giving him all of the money that would be used to care for him in his old age. But the younger son left town. He went to live the good life, the high life. And when the famine came, he was starving. He had spent all his money on that wild life. His friends abandoned him. He had nothing left. He made his way by caring for pigs. And he truly was at the bottom. When he hit bottom, he thought home wasn't so bad after all. Even the servants at his family home had it better than he did. So he returned home. His plan was to return home humbly, asking forgiveness and being willing to be one of his father's servants. Gosh, have you ever been there? Have you ever thought the grass is greener anywhere except where you are? When you look at the lives of other people, do you see something that looks and feels different, maybe better? Have we not made choices and life decisions that turned out to be what seemed like disastrous? But we know in the bigger picture that even those moments, those experiences in life that feel unfortunate or disastrous, while they're happening, often turn out to be those experiences of life that really grow us, that root our faith, that strengthen our resolve. When in our life were we like that son who needed to experience more of the world? I grew up in a very small town in southwestern Pennsylvania, a coal mining town. And I had a very big family, lots of cousins and aunts and uncles, and felt suffocating as a teenager. So I had to get to the big city. And I didn't go back to live in my hometown, but as I grew and came to my senses, I saw the value. I saw the importance of the morals and the character I learned, even under those annoyingly watchful eyes as I tested boundaries as a teenager. We all have had that experience of stretching and feeling like we need to experiencing more. But when have we gone on searching, only to find that what we were searching for was already ours? We already had everything that we needed. This son remembered how well fed the servants were in his father's home. So when have we found ourselves desiring and needing physical nourishment or spiritual nourishment? So this son returned home very humbly, hoping that his father would at least allow him to be a servant in his household. And then the father, who had all along been waiting and watching for his son to return. Parents know that, right? Anyone who's had a child who's gone off, we know that feeling, just waiting to hear that they're okay, to see that they come back to us. But this father had one eye on the road and one eye in his everyday life. And he runs to his son, filled with love for his son, and he threw his arms around him and kissed him. You know, that son had been working with the pigs, caring for them. He had traveled a long distance, so you know that he was pretty smelly, pretty unkempt. But that didn't stop the father from embracing him. A very demonstrative act which was uncustomary for the culture at the time. And the father told the servants, quick, not whenever you get to it, quickly bring the best robe, which is probably his own robe, and put it on him. Give him a ring for his fingers. Give him jewels. Give him something precious. Make a feast and celebrate. For my son who was lost is now found. So think through the times in life when we had the opportunity to show up as the Father did. With grace, forgiveness, and generosity. Think of the times in life when we've been in that place. How did we respond? How did we show up in that? Were we willing to welcome someone who may have behaved badly or treated us poorly in life? Were we willing to welcome them back and celebrate their return, knowing that they had learned their life lesson and came to their senses? I'm in no way suggesting that we should not set boundaries in our life for how people will treat us. We always do that. But when we move in spirit, we move with grace. People experience cause and effect. It's not ours to judge that. Someone can mistreat us and come back humbly. Are we willing to forgive that? I wonder if I would be willing to prepare a feast of the finest food that I can find for someone who has betrayed or dishonored or mistreated me. And yet that's exactly what this father did. I can only hope that I would be so gracious, that I would be so kind, that I would be so generous. Or might I show up like the older brother? Meanwhile, that older brother was out in the field toiling and working, and he became angry and refused to celebrate. And the older brother isn't impressed with the return of his younger sibling. After all, he had to do all the work. He had to do his work and the brother's work, and to care for the father. He's tired. He's worn out. He's had it with that younger brother, living the good life. And he had all that he could handle. So he's not quite up for a celebration, especially when he sees this massive celebration and party and the robes and the jewels and the sandals that the father has given the younger brother. After all, the brother came home because he was broke. He had nothing left. And he speaks to his father. All these years I have slaved for you. I have obeyed all of your orders. Just a wee bit of a martyr, huh? Maybe a little bit. In the course of our lifetime, we have experienced the roles of all of these people. Even the father who says, my son, you're already here with me. Everything that I own, everything that I have, all of my love and affection, all of my worldly possessions are yours. But your brother was lost, and now he's found. So when we have those moments in life where we are the older brother, the younger brother, or even the father, we may have sought more excitement or a bigger, better life out in the world. We may have succumbed to the enticements of the world, the material things, and they can be quite fun and exciting, right? We may have longed for that life of stability to return after we find out and live the experience that the world can so easily disappoint us. Just as the world entices it into itself, it can drop us, leave us feeling lonely and abandoned. We might travel a long, humbling road back to acceptance. We might, as the father was, be willing to welcome others back into our hearts with grace. We may, as the older brother was, be rigid in our judgment. That martyr. We may be all of that. And we might be like that father who put aside any of his thoughts of wrongdoing, any of the carnal desires of the younger son, and the self-righteous attitude of the older son, and gave his unconditional love to both. just as we might experience in our spiritual lives as we step away from our spiritual practices, living our truth, owning our divinity. How many of us at some point in our life have turned away from faith to explore the world and to live in the world and to garner all the things and the toys and the excitement of the world. And how many of us have been welcomed back with arms of grace and love and generosity as we experience the worldly disappointment, the barrenness of a lustful life, the longing to return to the fullness of our lives lived in truth. Over the years, I've heard numerous people share, and I've experienced myself that feeling of disconnection from spirit, separateness from others, or even the divine. Yet, what I have found that it's without fail always been me. I'm the one that stepped away from devotion to my practices. I'm the one who has moved by worldly desires. I'm the one who has not been faithful to the teachings. I'm the one who separated myself from others. I'm the one who separated myself from spirit. And it is I who makes that journey back to be welcomed in the arms of the grace, the love, and the generosity. That presence and power that is the universe is always there, always waiting for my return, always wanting my return, and always welcoming me back. No matter what journey we choose, we are never left out of that circle of God's love. And we can remember by the example of 1 Corinthians 16:14. Will you speak it with me, please? Let all you do be done in love.